Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review. Brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. The Saints are through 3 games of the preseason. Haven't won one yet, one of only 3 teams not to win in the preseason. That's not really that important. What is important is to get healthy. What is important is to sort through who your players are. And Lenny, I think the health part is still a big question mark. I think the sorting through process is closing in.
Yeah, and they'll get down to 75 either Monday or Tuesday heading into the Green Bay game, and then they'll make the final determinations. I don't think we'll see any major surprises. Of course, we could sit here and first guess on that right now, but you wouldn't expect to see anything major come out of this first round of cuts down to 75, although there have been some around the league. Obviously those choices, those tougher choices as you try to get down to the final 53, I think the Green Bay game is going to be a deciding factor for a number of those guys that are sitting there on the bubble. That's the key thing. Obviously, you're not going to see much in the way of starters in that game, beginning with Drew Brees, who we saw for all of 4 series in the preseason. Didn't play the opener, played 3 series against New England, played 1 series Sunday against Houston. We know he won't play in the Green Bay game. The good news is 4 series, 4 scores, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. So that is encouraging that when number 9 is on the field, this offense seems to be clicking. Now, on the other side of the football, maybe not so much. So that's a concern, and obviously that's not things you're going to get addressed Thursday night. But as much as anything else, like you say, I think that's where the health issues are key, is on the defensive side of the football.
Well, if you look at the negatives, the biggest issues, 3 drives of 80 yards in that game, regardless of who's on the field. You're giving up long drives and time-consuming drives, as the Saints did against the Texans. But the other bigger problem to me, aside from health, is the penalties. And I said this before the start of the preseason. If you're looking for an indicator that the Saints will be improved, look for them to reduce penalties and mistakes in the preseason. I said that in a blog that I wrote before the season and on radio. And the Saints have incurred, 35 penalties in 3 games, and they've had several others that have been declined against them. So the mistakes are prevalent. This looks a lot like last preseason, and we know what happened last season. So that, to me, is a concern.
Yeah, I agree with that standpoint, but I will throw this out there in terms of penalties. It's the ones that you're getting. It's the mental mistakes, like Keenan Lewis lining up off sides.
No excuse.
No excuse for that. The defensive pass interference penalties don't really bother me that much, because you're trying to play tight coverage and things like this. Keep this in mind when we talk about penalties. The top 4 teams in the NFL in terms of penalties last year all made the playoffs, and 2 of those were the 2 Super Bowl teams, New England and Seattle. So it's not while it does suggest lack of discipline, lack of mental focus and things like that, it can also, depending on the types of penalties that are called, just dictate the type of defense that you're trying to play as well. And so, it's one of those things where I guess you got to kind of read between the lines.
Of course, the Saints will wrap up the preseason on Thursday night at Green Bay. Much ado about nothing, maybe a couple of roster spots to be decided. But in terms of real players, I'd be shocked if any of them are on the field, with maybe 2 or 3 exceptions. You just don't want to get people hurt. Ask Green Bay. They are Exhibit A in that particular department. The Zephyrs wrapped up their home schedule on Sunday. Very few people there. It's been a very disappointing season. They'll close the season on the road.
Yep, 8 on the road here to wrap things up. And, timing with the Zephyrs has been like an unfortunate thing all year. They face a stretch of first-place teams all playing very well over the course of 3 weeks. Next thing you know, they're on a team record losing streak. We perhaps had a chance to see Jose Fernandez pitch here on a rehab assignment. The schedule didn't work out. Now the latest thing, if Giancarlo Stanton's rehab would have been a week earlier ahead of schedule, we might have seen him on a rehab assignment in New Orleans last week, make some of these last games significant, a chance to see an all-star, an MVP caliber type player, on rehab trying to get back to the big leagues. No, he's doing that this week. So it's it's really been this season has been all about bad timing in my mind.
LSU opens Saturday against McNeese State. We'll talk more about that obviously on Friday. Tulane, however, opens on Thursday night at home at Yeoman Stadium against Duke, and what stacks up is a very important game in the grand scheme of things for the Green Wave.
It does, and by the way, get a nap during the day if you're going out there. It's an 8:34 Central Time kickoff to on a school night, no less. Some people, I guess, are off on Friday, but just the same, it's a key first two games for Tulane, and obviously week 2 going to Georgia Tech, who a lot of people have in the top 10, that's going to be a very tall order. And to avoid what could be an 0-2 start, you really got to find a way to get this one. Most accounts, Tulane about a 10-point underdog in this game. And, opening games can, those are the types of things can go either way. So it's, we'll see who is the more prepared team to come out of the box on Thursday night.
High school football, the regular season gets underway in earnest this week after Jamboree Week, and radio Thursday night, Lake Area New Tech De La Salle at 7 p.m. on WGSO. Ought to be a really intriguing contest between two vastly improved and growing programs. And then the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase kicks underway in full throttle. It doesn't take any time to get this sucker rolling.
No, we've only got 2 teams who were in the Dome last year, and Warren Easton and Jesuit, live on SportsNola.com Thursday night. You can watch the re-air Saturday at noon on WHNO. And in fact, we've got 3 games for you in 3 nights on SportsNola.com. A couple of prep games, a championship game in a developmental league. So we'll have the full story coming up for you later today on SportsNola.com with all of the details of how you can watch 3 games in 3 nights right here on your place to get all of your Louisiana sports coverage, SportsNola.com.
And the 21st year of the original debuts Friday night, 6 p.m. to midnight coverage on WGSO locally and all over the state on various affiliates. And, of course, we'll have reports from 35 to 40 games a night, scoreboards twice an hour in conjunction with SportsNova.com, where you can come to see the scores live each and every Friday night. The best in the business at SportsNova.com. Don't miss it. Thanks to the All-State Sugar Bowl, thanks to First NBC Bank, and everyone behind this effort.
Yep, no doubt about it. It's as good as it is. And the thing that I love to tell people is, your colleagues around the state all come to the SportsNola.com scoreboard to get their scores from around the state. That should tell you the up-to-date completeness of the scoreboard that you get at SportsNola.com. And now with our new look that unveiled last year, it is much more friendly. If you're at the games, you want to bring it up on your phone and keep up with what's going on with the scores, it's a great way to do it.
Last but not least, the 77th year of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club debuting Tuesday, 12:15 p.m. at the Cannery, 3803 Toulouse Street in New Orleans. The Sports Foundation now behind it. Be a big crowd on Tuesday. Joe Oliva coming down from Baton Rouge, the LSU Athletic Director, Dennis Lauscher, President of the Saints, Brandon McNeil, Associate AD at Tulane, J.T. Curtis of John Curtis Christian, and Jay Cicero of the Sports Foundation, all speaking. Exciting times with enhanced speakers and enhanced crowds at the Cannery.
Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be great, and it's every Tuesday this year. Remember, no more Monday morning or Monday afternoon quarterbacking. It's Tuesdays now, and I think that's going to be a great change to the schedule.
You got another day to criticize, okay? Think about it, formulate your opinions, and be ready to second guess. It's all good. We look forward to it. Lenny, as always, thanks. Have a great week.
All right, we'll see you later this week.
That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.